Hello guys, how is it going? How are you?
Good, all great. It's been a while since we had an episode in English, actually, I think.
It's been a while, I
True.
agree.
Do we speak English at all, or have we forgot it?
Some of us we need to take the TOEFL again, to see how it's
the last time we took the TOEFL, I think that thing is over for us because the last time we took it, I think it was like 3 years ago, and the TOEFL is actually only for 2 years.
So
by the end of this episode,
bilingual.
By the end of this episode, we will know who has to take it again. So
yeah, we will know. This is gonna be a very Latin English show. Sorry if you guys don't like it, but that's what you get.
Sorry for the accent.
Sorry for that. Okay, guys. So our guest today, she is a music branding and marketing specialist. She has over 15 years of experience as an art director. She's also the founder of Sound Visionary, which is a creative studio that specializes in branding, marketing, and making music visible. She's been a speaker in conferences, festivals, including the BBC Music Introducing Live, the City Baby, European DIY Musician Conference, WOMEX, and many more. She's also collaborated with universities as a tutor such as Berklee College Valencia, BIM Dublin, and MI Hollywood. Our guest has a stride when it comes to bringing visibility for underrepresented talent and increasing their participation across all areas of the music industry. People, please, a round of applause for Jeanny Ricci. How are you, Jeanny? Thank you for coming.
That was quite something. Thank you so much. Podría en español también si quieres, but we decided that we're going to do English today. So
we had no idea that you spoke Spanish. We had no idea.
Yeah, I speak quite a few languages.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, I am based in Barcelona also, so I think it's fair enough. Thank you so much for the sweet introduction and for having me. I'm honored.
Absolutely. Happy to have you.
We're more honored. At some point, this conversation might actually change to Spanglish then.
I think we might keep it in English because our accents are I guess a little bit different than Spanish, what we call Spanish. So
yeah, yes.
I'm used to many. I'm used to the Catalan Spanish accents.
Oh, okay.
So like, yeah, fine. Like next time we will do mixed languages.
Version 2.
Yeah.
Incredible. Well, let's start with this conversation, and just to kick off, because with all your experience working on branding and like assessing a lot of artists and everything, we wanted to start asking you a question about when you discover an artist or when an artist approaches to you asking for an advice about how their projects are in terms of branding and if they have a coherent and a strong branding identity. How can you tell that an artist do have a strong identity, or how would you define it?
Okay. It really it can be very different from project to project. I've never seen two of the same kind, to be honest with you. So I guess when an artist or a band comes to me, it's usually that they don't really have a brand, a defined brand already, or if they do have some sort of identity, it's really not cohesive at all. So it's usually there is work to do. And so I think in general, if I can speak in general, my job always starts with an audit. Going through the assets that are there already, if there are, and understanding what's not working and explaining why it's not working, and take it from there. So start building a visual identity, and it's always easier and better also when you start from scratch. So I'm so happy when an up-and-coming artist comes to me and they don't really have anything ready and they think it's bad, but it's actually good. It could be good because you just get a fresh start instead of having to clean up something wrong that has been done before. And something that I've seen many times and I keep seeing is artists that are really not aware of their identity, of their visual identity. So they have, they have their music and everything, but they're really not able to communicate it in a visual way, which is sort of important in the super visual world we live in. And that works against them quite a lot. Just to give give you an example. I had a female singer-songwriter from the US. She's like, she does like kind of a hip hop music, which is a lot about empowerment, female empowerment. So, you know, it's kind of positive vibes, strong message. And their image, when she first came to me was dark. Like I thought she was like, her genre was like goth music. And so when I actually listened to the music, I was so surprised. And that's just one example, but I see so many of these. And this is where you really need to be careful, because it's better not to have any visual identity at all than to have a wrong one, you know, because you're sending out the wrong message. So you're scaring off the potential listeners that might love your music, but maybe they won't give you a chance because they think you're a genre they don't like. So it could be so many different things, but I always start with an audit of what's already there.
And like from this, because I heard you speak in a keynote about what branding really is, like is this kind of hallmark that artists should try to find to identify themselves. So in your experience, when it comes to collaborating or auditing different artists or labels, what are the biggest challenges in this process of finding this distinctive feature for the brand identity?
I think it's like the clarity, you know, the initial clarity. That's why I also started doing a lot of offering clarity sessions, because that was a very powerful insight that I got from mentoring. I've been mentoring quite a lot. And one thing that I've noticed is that artists, they usually lack clarity. So they come to me like, how many times should I post on Instagram? And I ask them what their goal is, and they go like blank, like they have no idea. So it's like there is a lot of confusion, which I understand, and that comes also from like too much information from everywhere, like people telling you how you're supposed to do things, what everybody's doing. But the point, I think, and the challenge is to disconnect from what everybody else is doing right now and think of what you're doing. So what is your music about? It in the end, it's really like the answer is within you. You just have to sit down and listen to yourself. What is your music about? So that distinctive feature is like to, instead of looking at what everybody else is doing, just think of what your music is about, and it's in there. But there is a lot of noise from the outside world. So I understand that it can get very, very confusing if you do not have any guidance, professional guidance at all.
Absolutely. And in this context, like we're talking about artists lacking clarity. I love that you mentioned the example of the hip hop girl that had this this connection between the image and her like music. So we wanted to ask you, like, because I've seen that we saw that in Sound Visionary, you offer a lot of feedback sessions, one-on-ones, like very personalized experience. So also, aside from clarity, what have been the biggest like misconceptions you have seen artists have when it comes to branding and like, or moreover, when it comes to communicating with their audience and their fans, like that part of marketing?
Okay. Many.
Okay, sure.
But the first time that comes to my mind is the not understanding the difference between branding and marketing to start with, and actually and that misunderstanding also can be quite can also be something that works against you. Like go and focus directly on the marketing side of things. So when you don't even have a brand built for yourself, you don't have an identity, it's not clear who you are, what you are about. And it's not just about the visuals, like the visuals is just a translation of what is there in the music. That's why I like to say that what I do is translating sounds into vision. and that's where the name comes from as well, because it's basically like just like a translation into a different form of creative art, like sound to image. So it's not really about just the visual assets themselves. It's the concept, it's the message that is the foundation of a brand and of an identity. And so some people think it's not because they think they can just keep something and go straight to the point. It's because, of course, they don't know. It's not their job. So how are they supposed to know how it works? So one misconception and mistake that I see happening quite a lot is just like, start investing even money into paid advertising to promote something that hasn't been like even announced yet. People don't know that you are an artist. People don't know that you're making music. People don't know like what you are about and who you're talking to. You don't have a clear audience. And what are you going to market? If that is one. I can tell you many, but we will have to be here for a very long time.
That's fine.
Yeah. Absolutely. And now that assuming once the artist or the label, they have this identity clearer as the time passes, something that we know is that as soon as the campaign launches or a release happens, the thing is not over. There is a long tail of the campaign that is as important as the day of the release, right? Or the week of the release. Because people have this opportunity to have more ongoing initiatives. They can pivot depending on the performance data that they are getting from different platforms, right? So my question is more about what are like the key initiatives that a release should not miss in this long tail of the campaign?
So that is a very good point, because of course, like a release is not just the day of out now, and there is what you call a long tail. Probably I wouldn't maybe even call it that, but because it's like just if sometimes we just focus on the event itself, but the event doesn't just last one day or 1 week. It's just like once the music is released, it's like there for good. And of course, there is like all the backstage that nobody sees is like the work, the promotion work starts weeks and months in advance, or at least it should. And it doesn't end with a release day, of course. So it is very important not to forget the work that comes first, because that is another misconception that I get pretty often, like that you can just like start promoting with a pre-release for a couple of weeks and that's it. It's not enough, of course. And it's not good to just stop on release day, because, okay, I've done the job. I've created the music, I released it, it's launched, it's done. Of course, it needs some follow-up promotion as well, which is not very different from the pre-release promotion. It's kind of mostly keep doing what you've been doing. If it was advertising, showing up for your people, for your audience, and keep talking about the music, what it is about, why you're so happy and excited about it, and what's coming next, how you're going to promote the music, you're going to play live shows, tour the country, the continent, whatever. And it's also the time when you can start having fun with it, which, let's not forget that this is also supposed to be fun. Music is about passion. I think we're all here out of passion. So yeah, start having fun, like releasing, creating lyric videos. You are an artist, get creative with it. Yeah.
I love that you mentioned that like at the end, music is all about passion. And a lot of our guests have told us that like if you want to be part of this, if you want to be involved in the music industry as an artist, as a professional, like you need to love music. Like you really, really need to love it, because if you're going to breathe, you're going to eat, you're going to walk, you talk music all like 24/7.
Yeah. I mean, I cannot think of why would you even, get involved with all this, which is a lot of work if it's not for passion. Maybe one thing that is important not to forget when you're like work very hard, like as I do. I have to say that sometimes I say, hey, wait a second, I'm supposed to, enjoy music, which like with the pandemic, with no live shows for almost 2 years, we kind of lost the fun side of things for a minute. So that was harder because I actually started this because I enjoyed it. But yeah, there's no point without passion.
Definitely. And sometimes passion is like the most important thing, because like when it comes to promoting, some of also like kind of the misconception that artists have can be that, okay, I don't have like a large budget. Like I have not a lot of money to invest in promotion. So, and I like every time I release a song, I don't see any results. And some artists might think it's only because they're not like paying for playlisting or that kind of stuff, So I wanted to ask you, in your experience, what are the best practices an artist can do when promoting on a budget?
Well, like yes, that is probably the point. Like to remember who you are and why you are even doing this to start with. Keep like show the love, the passion, and enthusiasm that you have. And so it's not really about the money and the budget. Of course, it helps if you have some money to invest, but all the money in the world will not get you anywhere if you don't have a good product to start with, a good project, a good message, a good piece of music. So no money in the world can buy you talent, I guess, unfortunately. But money can help something, that is created in a genuine way, that you can communicate in a genuine way. So, of course, everything is self-released these days, and we have access to media is not accessible anymore. You don't need to go on television with expensive advertising or billboards or any of that anymore. Social media is, is accessible to anyone. So even with a small budget, there's so much you can do. Maybe one good point is about understanding how to prioritize. So if your resources are limited, and say, okay, I only have this amount of money that I can invest, because it's about investing, not spending. How am I going to use it? And I will suggest that a little bit of professional help is good to have. Maybe you cannot have a manager, a label, a photographer, all the dream team, but you can pick one professional, one that you think is the thing you need the most, and that will be a massive support, I think.
I really like that you said that if you don't have talent, it doesn't matter how much money in the world you have, it could be whatever, but focusing on talent and the importance of exposition. In the last year, many artists got signed by major labels because of TikTok. This has been a window of opportunities to expose yourself, and it gave the chance to content creators to get a massive following, and in some cases reach it millions. So I wanted to ask you, from your point of view, what is the best advice you can recommend to apply on this platform, and what have you seen that works on TikTok actually, that could be kind of trending?
Well, one thing I will say is that I will be aware of shooting stars. What I've just said about talent is what I mean is I'm not one to say what talent is, of course, but I think it's when you really have something to say, when as an artist, what makes an artist, having something to say and having something to express in a creative way. So if you have that, it doesn't really matter the medium that you choose, but on the other hand, the medium itself cannot really make a superstar, I think. I'm sorry, I don't really believe in this overnight success that they're trying to sell us. first of all, it's never overnight. It might look like, but there's a lot of work behind the scenes, and who knows how long it's been going on. And so I think that's the same with TikTok. Like it's really not. It's just like a new platform, but the story goes on the same way. Like as it used, like it could be like a few years ago, it could be YouTube. The new YouTube superstar. But we're so. I will be mindful about that because it's you probably want to get something more than like a viral video. What's a viral video? What brings to your music career? If you're looking for like a long-lasting music career, maybe it's something more than one viral video that everybody's talking about you today and it's gone tomorrow. I will go for something long term. Yeah.
Well, 100%. And now that you mentioned that, is that recently what I've read is because 2020, when we were like in lockdown because of COVID, there happened a lot of overnight success for different artists. And if those artists didn't have a very clear brand identity once they were in this big momentum, this big virality moment, and people went and checked, okay, what's about this artist? For instance, that happened to Jaws 368, something like that, the guy who created Lax.
Yeah.
You went into his socials and he didn't have much, because it was an overnight success. So you wanted to know more about the artist on that moment, and there was nothing. Yes, it's an overnight success, but if you have done the job of creating this bed of content that talks about you, that talks about your brand identity, these very characteristic features about you, people will stay with you, but they will stay with you because you have done the work of creating this brand identity.
Yeah, or if you haven't yet, it's never too late anyways, but I think it's good to be smart enough to make the best out of any situation, which TikTok can definitely be. There are so many opportunities on TikTok, especially, even just to monetize with the music. So I wouldn't overlook TikTok at all. I think there are so many great opportunities, but I wouldn't go there just for the viral video effect. There's more to it, and okay, you can make it to viral. Well, first of all, not many make it to go viral. I don't know. It's like it's the 1 out of billions. That if you're one of those, make sure that it's not just that one thing, that you can use it for more. And yeah,
actually, I read a headline this morning that says like, if you're signing with a label just to get a viral moment on TikTok, you are on the wrong path.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, many artists I think have that mentality nowadays. So like going viral as an end goal. I can't remember, but we had another guest that spoke like precisely about that. So very interesting article, I think.
Yeah. Sorry, like I cannot blame them, if they think that, because they get the wrong impression from what, the world in general is giving them. The fact that we're always talking, and I personally do not agree about all these talking about figures. We're all about the numbers, how many likes, how many shares, how many listeners, how many. That is like, if of course, if we do talk about that, and then the artists themselves will think that that's the point, when it's really not. I hope it's going to change, but at the moment, it's still like quite a lot, too much talking about the numbers.
Absolutely.
So, Jeanny, I had a follow-up question, because once I heard a very wise person told me that it's better to copy a good marketing plan than inventing it or creating it. Basically, what I wanted to ask you is, what are the characteristics of a standard model of a good marketing campaign that artists should aim to? Okay.
I do not agree with that.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't saw you agreeing with it. So.
But there is a good point to it, though. No, the reason why I do not agree with that is very, very easy, of course, is that there's no one size fits all. Ever, and there's no magic recipe. So it all depends on your project. Every project has specific needs and specific goals. So how can you just replicate someone else's, You can get inspired from someone else's work if it performs well, of course. So, but that's maybe more about comparing more than one. Probably it's like competitors analysis will be, you don't take just one and replicate. You take a few that are your sounds like, and this is how you actually start building your audience when you first start. Like, so many people ask me that, how do I even find my audience on social media if have no idea how to start? So you go to the artists that are like similar in sound and genre, and you see who their followers are. So, but that is more like, an in-depth job of studying, analyzing, researching the market to understand where to get your data from. So make sure that it's fully customized on your needs. So always start with the why. I would say why you do what you do, and have very clear goals set. Because you don't just do like a campaign. What's the goal for the campaign? So this campaign is focused on brand awareness. I need people to know that I am an artist that makes music. This campaign is focused on EP release because I have a new EP coming out. This campaign is focused on promoting my next tour, So it's like the starting point and the end goal. And when it sounds trivial probably, but it's not something that people like always remember. So, and then it's easy to get lost in the process. But when you know where you're coming from, where you're going to, it's quite easy to create a strategy plan to get there. When you do not have one of these, like, it gets blurry. And of course, when it comes to marketing, it's a lot about testing and readjusting. You do not really know from the start, especially if it's the first time you do it. You have to go test, readjust, retest.
Absolutely. I just wanted to mention that, I think regardless of the campaign or how you try to achieve your objective, we are now seeing, or we have been talking throughout the latest years about the economy of attention, especially like in marketing, talking about TikTok, everything is based on attention time span. And that has been at least a big focus on the industry. So, and I was reading the other day an article by Mark Mulligan from Media that he's saying that we are starting to face like an attention recession, basically based on like that post-pandemic, the social gathering of people, people are getting more together, having less time to spend on entertaining. So that's immediately a negative effect on the economy of attention that we live in. So I wanted to know, basically, what's your take on it, and how do you think we can face, or what are some good strategies to face this post-pandemic phenomena?
Okay, well, first of all, are we really sure that it's really that way? What I mean is,
that's a good question.
Okay, yes, we were actually probably spending much more time looking at a screen when we were in lockdown. But on the other hand, it is true that as everybody was watching, everybody was posting at the same time content. So we were all like on Zoom, endless Zoom calls all the time. Attention demand. So maybe now we can go outside, so we don't spend so much time looking at the screen, which I'm not really sure about anyway.
Yeah, because we still are with the phone.
Yeah,
we still do.
But maybe the time that we spend looking at posts, social media, news, whatever, maybe we use it in a wiser way. It's a matter of quantity, quality. Maybe I spend less hours looking at, scrolling down Instagram, but when I do, I'm really there. Whereas when I was, looking at it for 20 hours a day and I was bombarded with much more information than now, maybe it was not as effective as it is when I spend less time on it. And so I wouldn't really worry about that at all. I actually think, it's nothing but good that we are able to, live in the real life world again, especially for music. and especially for music, of course, because not being able to perform live was kind of killing the industry anyways. So yeah, let's be just grateful about that.
Absolutely.
I 100% agree with that. And I also, it has come to our attention that very recently what artists are starting to do, they're not using streaming as their main source of revenue. You know, it's very obvious how DSPs are paying to artists and things like that. So what they are doing is like monetizing their niche audience, those very hardcore fans, right? So I wanted to ask, like, how has the job as a marketing specialist changed now that artists are not targeting any more loads and loads of people, but they are just targeting this niche audience?
I personally don't see a big change in that because like targeting niche audience for me, it's the way I was working anyways. I mean, I can see how you can just go general, like maybe now it's more obvious to everyone, but for me, it's always been about a niche audience. And I actually think that that's still not so clear to everyone that it's the way to go. Like there are still many people, artists that think, people in general, like even in different industries, that think that they just want to reach out to everything, and do not understand that when you're trying to reach out to everyone, you actually end up not really reaching out to anyone. So I think I personally do not see like a big shift in that sense.
Hey, Jeanny, we just arrived to the last question. First of all, I wanted to thank you so much for sharing all this with us. I wanted to ask my co-host if they had any additional questions before I finish the interview.
I don't, but I do want to make a plug. I know that you just mentioned about those. There are many media, and there are like different sources for you to get more into NFTs and more into the Web3 thing. And I want to make a plug because I follow a newsletter that I find very interesting that is called the Milk Road, and they just break down everything related to Web3 and NFTs, and they put you on different kind of trends and news that are happening in the world around it. So I just wanted to plug that. It's a great source of information for this world, and if you are interested about it, so go for it. That's the only
We'll
thing
definitely put the link on our description of this episode for sure. But now, hey, Jeanny, I'm going to finish with the last question. So are there any new ideas, practices, or platforms that you've seen that are kind of undercover or low profile at the moment, but artists and professionals can start looking into that so they can start making a difference in promotion? In the sense that if there are new ideas that have not been potentially exploited, or there has been new or there are practices, or is there any platform that they should be start looking now?
I'm not really like platform focused. I think I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I will be aware of not focusing too much on what's trending now and might not be trending tomorrow. Focus on your project, know who you are, what you want, what you're talking about, and focus on your art, and the right platform for it will come.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I don't know if there is anything else that you want to plug about Sound Visionary, about you, or any other channels or media that they can find you or connect with you.
Yeah, sure. Like actually at the moment, as I have just rebranded my project, so like the website is there, and you can find the information about all the services that we offer on the website, www.soundvisionary.com. And social media is coming, but I'm going to be very selective with social media myself, because I'm not going to be anywhere. I'm just going to be where I think it's worth it. So
Absolutely.
I have to walk the talk. So, but yeah, in the meantime, I'm happy to hear from anyone that might need any advice. And you can just drop an email, quick message from the website. And I'm always happy to help if I can.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for your time. And yeah, being selective with the social media is very, very important. We agree with that. And well, guys, Jeanny, thank you so much. And guys, I'll see you next week for the next episode, next interview.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Jeanny.
Jeanny.
Bye. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, si ya llegaste hasta acá, muchas gracias por escucharnos. No te olvides de seguirnos en Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora o la plataforma digital que sea de tu preferencia. Si te gustó el capítulo, si te gusta el podcast, no olvides recomendarnos a tu grupo de amigos, colegas. Esa es la mejor manera y la manera más orgánica de que sigamos creciendo esta comunidad. También nos puedes encontrar en Instagram, Facebook, YouTube como 8000 kilómetros podcast y cualquier comentario, duda, sugerencia para mejorar el podcast es más que bienvenida. Nos vemos en el siguiente episodio.